All right, this video is going to show you a mix of questions from the midterm, and not exactly from the midterm, but it's a midterm review. So the first question on the midterm review is this one. So it says consider the equation below. 5x minus 10 equals 5x plus 10. The first thing we always say to do is to get the x's together. So you subtract the 5x on both sides, and what happens is that this 5x and this 5x, they cancel. It's positive and negative. And this 5x and this 5x, they cancel because they're equal to 0x, and 0x cancels. And you have negative 10 coming down. The equal sign comes down, and the positive 10 comes down. You know that negative 10 is not equal to positive 10, so there is no solution. And no solution. All right, and that's it. So that's the first one. Number 2 says that John measures his pulse while exercising. The linear equation models his pulse while exercising. So y equals 10x plus 83. First, we know that m is the number, the slope. By the way, this is the slope. And we know that y equals mx plus b is the equation of a line. The m is the slope, the b is the y-intercept. So here is the slope. It's the number before the x. So slope is 10. The b, which is the y-intercept, is the other number. The plus b is plus 83. In this question, it's asking what is the meaning of the y-intercept, not what is the y-intercept, what is the meaning. Remember, the y-intercept is known as the starting point. So the y-intercept is the starting point, and this graph starts at 83, and in this case, it is his starting pulse. So, what is the meaning of the y-intercept? It's his pulse when it starts. Not when it starts, but when he first took the pulse, it was 83, and that's the starting pulse. And that's basically the answer. This question says Jim A charges a yearly fee of $100 plus $10 per month. Jim B is $50 plus $15 per month. So, anytime it says after how many months is the cost the same, remember, anytime that you're comparing two gyms or two whatever you're comparing, you want to actually just go ahead and write an expression for each one. So it's 100 plus 10 per month. And I'm going to put M for the month. And then I'm going to write for Jim B, it says 50 plus 15 per month. So I'm going to put M for the month. Since we're comparing the two, just put an equal sign in the middle. And you're looking for after how many months is the cost the same. So you want this side to equal this side, and that's why you put that equal sign in the middle. Remember, when you have variables on both sides, you get them together first. So we're going to bring the smaller over to the larger, so I want to stay in the positive. That cancels. 100 comes down. The equal sign comes down. The 50 comes down. And 15m minus 10m is a positive 5m. This is a two-step equation. This is a two-step equation. So, and this is a positive 50. You want to bring everything away from where the variable is. You're just subtracting 50 on both sides. This cancels. 50 comes down because it's 100 minus 50. An equal sign comes down, and the 5m comes down. After that, you have a one-step equation. The opposite of multiplication is division. So you're dividing by 5 on both sides. 5's cancel, m comes down, and equals 10 months. M equals 10, the amount of months. After how many months is the cost the same? It's 10. So if you substitute 10 in for this m, and 10 in for this m, the cost, the both sides will be equal. All right, and that's that question. How much larger is 3.60 times 10 to the negative 8th, then 4.5 times 10 to the negative 9th? How much larger? You're talking about subtraction. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 3.60 times 10 to the negative 8th, and you subtract it by 4.5 times 10 to the 9th. So you have to remember the rules here. The rules for subtraction and addition are the same. The rules for subtraction and addition say that both of the exponents must be the same. So it's for addition and subtraction, exponents must be the same. All right, so exponents must be the same for you to do anything. So one of these exponents must change. I am going to change this negative 9 to a negative 8 by adding 1 to it. And I'm making that larger. So I'm going to put an LG on the top of that, and I have to make this smaller. Put an SM on the top of that. Now, since I did that, this is what you have. You have 3.60 times 10 to the negative 8th, and it's minus. Since I have to make this smaller, I made this larger. I have to make this smaller. That means I have to move this decimal one place to the left, making that smaller. It's 0.45 now. And now, instead of 10 to the negative 9th, you have 10 to the negative 8th. Now the exponents are the same, and now you could go ahead and subtract the 0.45 and the 3.60. So 3.60 minus the 0.45 equals 3.15. That is a good number for scientific notation, because remember, the number in scientific notation has to be a number between 1 and 10. And that is a good number. So how much larger? And that's how much larger. Okay, and we're going to leave our number in scientific notation. That's finished. So it says find the equation of the line that passes through the points 0, 5, 5, negative 5. The equation of a line is y equals mx plus b. That's what you have to remember. Everything runs through that. That's the equation of a line. So that's the b. So the m is what you need. So you need the slope, but you also need the b, which is the y-intercept. So you need the slope, so you might as well just go ahead and do x1, y1, x2 for the second x you see, and this is y2 for the second y you see. You have to remember the equation that you use with 2 points for slope, and it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now all you have to do is substitute, because you already labeled. So y2 is negative 5 minus y1 is a 5. x2 is 5. x1 is 0. Negative 5 minus 5 is negative 10. It's not 0. Remember, you add when you have the same, it looks like the same sign, right? If you do keep change, it is the same sign. It's -5 plus -5 is -10. And of course, 5 minus 0 is 5. -10 over 5 makes that slope -2. So that's what you put. It's -2. So you have a slope of -2, but you're missing the y-intercept. When you miss the y-intercept, you have to actually, let me switch to typing right here. You actually, if you're missing the y-intercept, you have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And that is called the point slope formula. And that's what you do. That's what you have to use. You have to use that point slope formula. But for this question, you don't have to. For this question, this is a gift. When x is 0, the y-intercept is the other number. So when x is 0, the y-intercept is the other number. Right? Because 0, 5, if you graph it, that's where it crosses the y. So this is the y-intercept. And it's only when the x is 0. If the x isn't 0, that means you have to use this point slope formula. But now we have the b also as 5. It's a gift. Now all you have to do is substitute it into the point, an equation of a line. You have y equals -2x, because -2 is the slope, and plus 5 is the y-intercept. Remember, if you use the point slope formula, you have to solve for y. After you substitute all the numbers in, you would have to actually solve for y. And once you solve for y, you would get the same answer. So this is your answer. That's what it ends up being. This is the equation of a line that passes through these 2 points. All right, so this is basically just the same question as before. You're going to get the slope, and I'm hoping that I only have to write this once. It's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm only going to write that once. Remember, when you go ahead and label, this is your x. The 4 is the x, it's the x1. This 4 is the first y you see, so you put y1. This -1 is the second x you see, so you put x2. And this 4 is the second y you see, so you put y2. So it's y2, which is 4, minus 4. y1. x2, which is -1, minus x1, which is 4. So this comes out to 4 minus 4, which is 0, over -1 minus 4, which is -5. And so that means the slope of the line, and that's all they're asking for, is 0. I'm going to put this up just a little bit here, and hopefully have enough room to show you the whole problem. M equals, and I'm not going to rewrite this equation yet, that's what you have to do. So this is x1. I do have to label though, because I get a little confused. This is y1. This is x2. This is y2. So y2 minus y1 is -8 minus 0. And then x2 is -6 minus a -9. When that turns out to be, when you have double negatives, it's like keep change. You have to just make them positive. Back-to-back negatives become positive. So the numerator is -8, and -6 plus 9 is 3. You could leave it like that. That's the slope. Just find the equation of a line. These are very, very easy. Hopefully you remember how to do it. So find the equation of each line. So for the equation of a line, remember, you have to have y equals mx plus b. That's the equation of a line. So you need the slope, and you need the y-intercept. Y-intercept is very easy on a graph. It's where it crosses the y. So it's right there. That's where it crosses the y. Here's the y-axis. It crosses the y there. So go down to origin and do 1, up, 2, and 3. So the y-intercept, it crosses, this line crosses at 3. To get the slope, let me change to a red pen, hopefully. There you go. To get the slope, you do rise over run. You create a triangle from the 2 points that they give you, and you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right. Just put that 6 down below. 1, 2, 3. That's a positive 3. It goes up. So the rise over a run, and that's what it is. It's rise over run. A lot of people confuse it. The rise is 3. The run is 6. That's not good enough. You have to reduce that. You're in the 8th grade. It's 1 over 2. So that's the slope. Now you're ready to go. The equation of this line is y equals mx. The m is a half plus b. The b, the y-intercept is 3. That's the equation of that line. I'm going to go ahead, and I know I have to actually figure out slope. Right? I'm not going to write the y equals mx plus b again, but I am going to write m and b. This crosses right here. Here's the y-intercept. It crosses there. So that's 1. And we're going to measure, count. This is 2. And 1, 2, 3, 4. The rise is 4. So rise over run is 4 over 2. That makes the slope 2. So it's y equals mx plus b. It's 2x because that's the slope, 2, plus 1. And that's the end of that question. Okay, so here's a nasty equation question with fractions. But it's not that bad, right? Even without a calculator. I just want to show you what basically a half times any number is half the number. So you know that half times 16 is 8. It's half of 16. Half times 4x is 2x. Because half of 4 is 2. Then I just want to tell you that 2/3 is not that difficult. You don't need a calculator for this. 2/3 right here, I did. 2/3 times 18 over 1. That's 2/3. I just didn't put the x because I'll put the x down later on. So I get 2 times 18, which is 36, and 3 times 1 is 3. 3 goes into 36 12 times, so this is just 12x. And then I have to not forget about the 2/3 times 27. I did it up here, and that is just simply negative 18. It's negative because you have a positive times a negative. So now that is the equation that you got. You put that right there. That's the equation. So now we just go ahead and just do it like we normally do. We get those x's together. So you minus the 2x on both sides. I'm going to bring the smaller over to the larger x. When you're passing the equal sign, use inverse operations. So you have 8 coming down, because that's the only thing left on this side. The equal sign comes down. This is 10x. And then you have minus 18. Remember, your objective is to get the x alone. The variable has to be alone. So the opposite of negative 18 or minus 18 is positive 18. So this cancels. I'm going to go over here. Actually, I'm just going to scroll down. I have 10x. and this is 26. You divide by 10. Divide by 10. And x equals 2.6. And that's the answer. So that's it. Okay. What is the slope of line AB? And yeah, it's just AB. Just AB. So just these 2 points. What does C and D do in there? Well, they're there to confuse you. So this is x1. This is y1. This is x2. This is y2. So you have m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So according to my labels that I put up top, it's 3 minus 2. Nice and easy. x2, which is 7, minus 5. Yeah, 3 minus 2 is 1. 7 minus 5 is 2. And the slope is 1.5. So for you to do this one, you have to just do this is describe this slope of the larger triangle. And so you're just counting 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 4. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the rise of the larger one, rise over run, is 4 of 7. That's the larger triangle. All right. And the small triangle is just 1 over 2. Are they the same? No. Your justification is you did the rise over run. Proved that they were not the same. A lot of people forgot this one. Remember, you're multiplying. So it's 6 times 4 times 2. You multiply the numbers. You don't add them, you just multiply. So 6 times 4 is 24 times 2 is 48. Remember, you keep what is the same, so the x is going to be there. And when you're multiplying, you add the exponents. So 8 plus 4 is 12, plus 3 is 15, and that's it. Again, another addition. We had subtraction before, now we have addition of the scientific notation. So you know that in addition, you have to have the same exponents, just as if in subtraction. I'm going to make this one larger by adding 1. If I made this larger, I have to make this smaller. And that means I'm going to move this 1 over. So that means I have 5.2 times 10 to the 4th plus 0.12 times 10 to the 4th. Now I'm ready to add. So you have 5.2 plus 0.12, and you get 5.32. What you're doing is that you're adding this and this. And it stays times 10 to the 4th. I do not need to do anything to this because this is a number between 1 and 10, and I am finished with this problem. So it says Staten Island drifts due to plate tectonics about 2.3 times 10 to the negative third inches per year. How many inches does it drift in 12 years? So this is per year. That's per year. They want to know how much it does in 12 years. So you set this up. It's 2.3 times 10 to the negative 3. We'll put that in parentheses just to not confuse you. And I'm going to multiply that by 12 because we have to figure out what is going on. Remember, you multiply, just multiply the numbers. All right, so you're talking just the numbers because there's no 10 to any power on the 12 right there. So you just multiplying 2.3 times 12, and you get 27.6. And it is times 10 to the negative third. There is a problem with that because it is not in scientific notation. This number here is supposed to be between 1 and 10. It is not. You have to make it between 1 and 10. So that means I'm going to move that decimal, and I'm going to make this number smaller. Since I made that smaller, I am going to make this larger. All right. So now it becomes 2.76 times 10. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Express your answer in scientific notation. That is your answer. Okay. Sue found the equation y equals 0.2x plus 8 models the relationship between y, the weight in pounds of a bunny, and x, its age in weeks. According to the equation, what would the expected weight of a bunny 12 weeks old be? Okay. So, weight in pounds, so the y is the weight in pounds. And the x is its age in weeks. Right? So it's telling you right here that it's 12 weeks old. You just have to substitute this 12 in for the x. So I'm going to rewrite the equation. Y equals 0.2. X, which is now 12. So you're substituting that in. This 12 is now the x plus e. So by doing that, you are going to get how much this bunny weighs. And 0.2 times 12 is 2.4. And don't forget, you have to add the 8. So that's going to be equal to y. And y, which is the weight in pounds of the bunny, is 10.4. 10 weeks old. LBS. 10 pounds. 10.4 pounds. And that's it. It's a substitution problem. Okay. Here we go. As a midterm review, I gave you this. The initial value, we already said that the initial value is the y-intercept, okay? So the initial value is where it starts. You see, look at the graph right here, and you see where it starts? You can't really tell what it is, but you have an equation up here. And the initial value is the y-intercept. So, it's 2.5. 0. Initial value is the starting point. Initial value is the y-intercept. How do you figure out the rate of change? Well, what is rate of change? Rate of change is another word for slope. Okay, so to find the slope of this line, I'm going to pick 2 points that are perfectly, that have perfect whole number coordinates. So I'm going to pick that point and this point because they are just perfect. I'm going to move this down a little bit. And I'm going to draw my triangle from here to here. Okay, and I'm going to count. And I'm not counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Not counting that way because this is going by tens. So I'm going to do 10, 20, 30, 40. 40. Now I'm going to count by twos because this is going by twos. 2, 4, 6. So the rate of change is 6 over 40. Alright, I'm going to make that a decimal. So I'm going to make that a decimal by dividing 6 in my calculator, 6 divided by 40. And I'm going to get 0.15. 0.15. I divided these two numbers to get that. The equation of the line would be to use so the equation of the line is, okay, lost my train of thought because it's just me. It's 0.15 x, which is the rate of change, which is the slope, plus the starting point, which is the y-intercept. That's the equation of a line. And that's basically it. That's all they ask, right? Oh. How much would the canoe cost to rent for 10 minutes? So this is an important question. How do you do this? 10 minutes? Well, this is the rental charge. This is the rental time in minutes. So how would you figure out what it is in 10? So you really can do this. 10 minutes? $4. You could use the graph. $4. Okay. So, but you could also do this. You could use the equation. 0.15. X is the time. So we're going to put 10 minutes in. And it's plus 250. Right? Using the equation, you could substitute the 10 minutes in for X. So, so what happens is that you get 0.15 times 10 is $1.50 plus 250. Guess what that is? It's 4. So it's $4 either way. You could do it either way. Okay, midterm review. All right, here we go. So we have to find the slope of this line. Let me see. Oh boy, that's nice. That's really nice. Okay, let me pause it. Okay, so made this a little bit smaller so we could all see that. So we have to find the slope first. So to find the slope, you just go ahead and draw your triangle. So you're going to go 1, 2, put a 2 on the bottom, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a 5. Now, the slope is 5 over 2, but I'm just going to tell you, this is one of those slopes that you can actually go ahead and divide the 5 divided by 2, and it becomes a nice 2.5. Sometimes when it doesn't become a nice decimal, you kind of just leave it in the fraction form, but 2.5 is a nice decimal. It's a terminating decimal. That's the way it should be. So slope I'm going to go with is 2.5. 5 over 2 is not wrong, but 2.5 is a little bit better. All right, so now the y-intercept, again, here's your y, and you could kind of look down and you say, all right, that line crosses at -2, so that's your y-intercept. Write the equation of this line very easily. The slope that you figured out is the rate of change, by the way, is 2.5x minus 2, which is the y-intercept. And it says, in your own words, explain why the line has a positive slope. So what you would say about this is the line has a positive slope because the line goes up from left to right. And that's it. Because the line goes up from left to right. Travels up from left to right, has a positive slope, and that's it. If it went down from left to right, it would have a negative slope. And is that all for that one? Yes, it is. Nice, easy question. Okay. So we have multiplication now in scientific notation. Multiplication's easier than addition and subtraction. So all you have to do, you don't have to worry about the exponents being the same, like in addition and subtraction. All you have to do is multiply the numbers. All right, so you have 5.2 times 1.2, and you get a nice number between 1 and 10. You know, you're not going to have to change it. What do you do with the exponents when you're multiplying? Well, you add them. So on the side, you go negative 4 plus 3. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. You leave it. That's good. Scientific notation. The next thing it says evaluate using the laws of exponents. So remember, you keep what is the same. You keep what is the same. The 5s are the same. That's the base. You keep it. What do you do with the exponents when you are multiplying? You add them. So it's 6 plus a negative 4. That is 5 to the second. Copy down to 5 to the sixth. Now you divide. Keep what is the same. Keep what is the same. The 5 is the same. What do you do when you divide with the exponents? You subtract them. So it's 2 minus 6, and that is a negative 4. On the test, there will not be a negative exponent. You have to convert this into a positive exponent. Remember, if you have a negative exponent, you have to take its reciprocal. So it's almost like you're putting a 1 underneath of this whole thing and then flipping the fraction. If you flip the fraction, you're getting its reciprocal. So it's 1 over 5. And once you flip it, the exponent becomes positive. So it's 1 to the 4th power, which is 1. And 5 to the 4th power, which is 625. And that is your final answer. Okay? So that's what you do. And it is definitely tricky. Right? But remember, when you see a negative exponent, and that does not go for negative exponents in scientific notation. All right? So that's it. Okay. Vin weighs twice the weight in pounds as Jackie. The sum of their weight is 360 pounds. How much does Jackie weigh? I always do a key. And what a key is that it tells you, lays out the foundation of the question. Jackie is X. Okay, that's how much Jackie is. Vinny weighs twice the weight of Jackie. Twice the weight is 2x. Whatever Jackie is, you have to times it by 2. So Vin weighs that amount. So their total, the sum of their weight is 360. The sum of their weight is 360. Sum of their weight is 360. That means you have to add them. So that's 2x plus x equals the sum of their weight is 360. Remember, combine like terms. The x's are on the same side. 2x plus x is 3x. Bring down the 360. This is a one-step equation. You divide by 3 on both sides. Divide by 3 on both sides. And the 3's cancel. X equals 2. I'm sorry. $120. Thought it was wrong for a second, but it's not. All right, so that's it. That's how much Jackie weighs. If you really wanted to find out how much Vin weighs, you have to substitute this x in 120 times 2, and you could do that math. It's way too much. All right, so that's the answer. So basically, we haven't done any of this in a while. Identify the correlation in each scatter plot. So it's either positive, negative, or no correlation. What is the correlation here? If I drew a trend line, remember, goes right straight through the middle. What is that trend line? This is a positive. Let me write this. This is a positive correlation. Very easy. If you drew a trend line for this one, you'll be drawing it down. And guess what? If you go from right to left and you're going down, negative correlation. What do you think this is? Well, you can't draw a trend line. There's no trend. And so there's no correlation. Okay? And that's really it. No correlation. Positive correlation is going up from left to right. Negative correlation is going down from left to right. And no correlation is that mess right there. Okay. We threw one on here. It's an event graphing question. It says Lena makes home deliveries for a supermarket. Her only stops after she leaves the supermarket are at traffic lights and homes where she makes deliveries. The graph shows her distance from the store on the first trip of the day. What's the greatest possible number of stops she made at only traffic lights? So she leaves the store, she goes up, she goes up, she goes up, she goes up, she stops. Guess what this is? Oops. Guess what this is? This is a traffic light. So I'm going to put that in black. Now, the traffic light turns green, she's moving, she stops again. Another traffic light. Then she moves again, she stops. For a way longer period of time. That is not a traffic light. This is basically at a home where she makes the delivery. So, ooh, yeah, that's nice. So that's a house. That doesn't count. And she goes down. Another annoying light. And then she finally goes home. So, how many do we have? We have one traffic light. We have two traffic lights. We have 3 traffic lights. So A is your answer. That's the greatest number of stops she made at traffic lights. Okay, so this is a question that has to do with scientific notation. The mass of the Earth is 4.84 times 10 to the 28 kilograms. The mass of the Moon is that amount of kilograms right there in scientific notation. So, it's asking what is the combined mass of the Earth and Moon? What is the combined mass? Alright, so I wrote it out. 4.84 times 10. The combined mass, you have to add them. Alright, so you can't add unless the exponents are the same. So I'm going to add 4 to this. And since I made that so much larger, I have to make this much smaller. Instead of moving it only once to the left, I actually have to move this twice to the left. So I'm just going to write out the numbers first. I'm going to have 4.84 is going to stay the same. And I'm going to add that to, and I'm going to write that here, 682. Oops. And 6.82, I'm going to move it once, twice, 3, 4 times. I'm going to put a 0, 0, 0. So what I have is an annoying number. Alright, so it's 4.84 plus 0.000682. So I have 4.84 0.682 times 10. Man, this is annoying. To the 28th. And that's the answer for this one. That's the combined. About how many times greater is the mass of the Earth than the mass of the moon. The mass of the Earth, we said, is 4.84 times 10 to the 28th. How many times greater? How many times greater? What's the operation? It's division. How many times greater? And put the moon as the denominator. 6.82 times 10 to the 24th. So this is the first division problem that we have to do. And you just divide. Remember, when you divide, you're dividing this number by this number. All right, so it's 4.84, and you have calculators for this. 6.82, and it's a division problem. That's 0.709, and just round it off to 7. What do you do with the exponents? When you divide, you subtract them. So 28 minus 24 is 4. This is not in scientific notation, so I'm going to move it just one time over to the right. Made this larger, have to make this smaller. So your final answer is 7.097, and I rounded there, times 10 to the, I had to make this smaller, that's a minus 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. Annoying problem, but that's it. Okay, so which of the following equations, which of the following equations has infinitely many solutions? Infinitely many. If you solve this, it has 1x, by the way, it has 1x on that side. First off, infinitely many solutions should be the same exact thing on both sides. Infinitely many. The same, when you end up with the same thing on both sides. Infinitely many. If you have 1x and there's no x on this side, this is one solution. So you could solve this. You can minus 5, divide by 4 at the end. It is one solution. Let me try this one. This becomes 6x. Right there, I know that this can't be infinitely many solutions. After just doing that, all right. So like, I'm not really sure. Like, if this is an open-ended question, I would actually show pretty much all my work. But again, even if you do 6 times 12, and you get the 72. You could see right here, I mean, you really go any further, you could justify it by saying it's not the same on both sides, right? So that's not infinitely many solutions either. So let's take a look at 12x plus 9, all right? And then 8 plus 4 is 12x. You're combining like terms, and this is plus 1. That doesn't equal the same thing on both sides. So you really don't have to solve for x, but if you did solve for x, you would subtract 12x on both sides. Subtract 12x on both sides. And this cancels and this cancels. And look what comes down. 9 does not equal 1. That's not infinitely many. That's none. That's no solution. So now we have 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 3, which is negative 12, equals 5x minus x is 4x. Combining like terms on one side, minus 12. Look what you have. You have 4x minus 12 on one side, 4x minus 12 on one side. This is it. This is infinitely many solutions. This is your answer. So you could circle it. Do whatever you want. That's the one. 5x plus 6 equals 5x minus 4, different on both sides. If you did subtract the 5x from both sides, which is what you should do all the time, this cancels, 6 does not equal negative 4. And that's basically it. Okay, so an animal cell is this large number. Is it large? No. Very, very small number. How is this number written in scientific notation? First off, you have to make a number between 1 and 10. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're making a number between 1 and 10 by moving it 8 spaces. So you made 1.2456. And since it's a very, very small number, you moved it 8 times, it's a negative exponent, and it's 8 times. And that's basically it. Okay. Okay, I set some things up here because this is a lot of work. And so I just wanted to show you, but it's not very difficult, especially when you have a calculator in front of you. The equation is right there. It says the function f equals 9 over 5 c plus 32 gives the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. It's when you convert Celsius into Fahrenheit, you use this formula. I'm sure you've used it somewhere in science before. And here's a table with all of the degrees in Celsius. So all you really have to do is kind of take this 15 and then substitute it into here. All right. And what you're doing is that now instead of the 15 being in the degree in Celsius, actually the 15 goes directly in. You're substituting in for the c. So it's 9 over 5 times negative 15 plus 32. And that's really what you do for this one. Let me just put this 15 back so I don't get a little crazy there. Okay. So, and then for the next one, you're going to substitute negative 10 in. And the next one, you're going to substitute negative 5 in. And the next one, you're going to substitute 0 in. And the next one, you're going to substitute 5 in. And the next one, you're going to substitute 10 in. And the last one, you'll substitute 15 in. Right? So I'm not going to do all of these answers with you, but I'm just going to tell you that you have a calculator for this. So 9 over 5 in the calculator, if you put 9 over 5 in the calculator, it comes out to be 1.8. So basically, if you do 1.8 times negative 15, or you could put 9 over 5 in parentheses times negative 15 plus 32. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab my calculator. I'm going to put 9 divided by 5. I know 9 divided by 5 is 1.8. So I'm going to do 1.8 times negative 15. And that should be negative 27. Negative 27 plus 32, and then it equals 5. So all of this, when you put it into the calculator, equals 5. Okay? So that's the answer. All right, I'm going to do the next one. I'm going to put 9 divided by 5 again. I'm going to say, all right, that's 1.8 times 10. Negative 10, sorry. So that's negative 18. Negative 18 plus 32 is 14. So that equals 14. So the next answer is 14. Then I'm going to do 9 divided by 5 again. And it's 1.8 times negative 5. So we know that's negative 9. Negative 9 plus 32 is 23. So equals 23. You get the idea here? 9 over 5 is 0. 9 over 5 times 0 is 0, because anything times 0 is 0. And the answer is 32. That's basically it. I'm not going to do the last three. You just really have to substitute this the C into the original formula, which is up here, given. Rewrite the formula in this section, and then figure out what the Celsius is converted to that degree. All right? Alrighty. Find the y-intercept, b, and the slope of the line. So really, basically, we're doing the same thing over and over again here, and here is the y-intercept, so I'm going to put b equals 0. And the slope, I'm going to just use the points they give me, so that's 2 and up 1. And remember, the slope is rise over run, so the rise is 1, and the slope, and the run is 2. So the it says find the y-intercept, b, and slope of the line. That's it. That's all they want. They don't even want the equation. All right, so that's it. This is called a direct variation. And if they did want the equation, it's y equals a half x. And that's how you write the equation when there is a direct variation that goes through the origin. So right here is your y-intercept. So I'm going to put that b up top, and that is -3. And the slope, just going to figure it out like this. I could have used these two. It's the same thing. 1, 2. 2 down is -2. 2 across to the right is positive. So the rise is not a rise at all. It's actually going down. It's -2. Run is 2. So that slope is -1. -1. That looks like a 7. It's pretty good. All right. It's one long video. Write the equation for each of the graphs so that the equation is up there. And I'm going to write the equation right here. Y equals -1x, or just -x, -3. So that's basically it for those two. Put your point in the scatter plot appears to be an outlier. There is the outlier. It's the one that's all the way by itself, right? Stands out from the rest of the data. Okay, just checked. It's the last slide. Awesome. Okay, so let me get that out of there. Find the y-intercept, b, and the slope of the line. That's supposed to be slope, by the way. I just put sloppy because I'm going crazy. All right, so here is the y-intercept, and the y-intercept is 1. Oh, I want to get this finished. All right, so slope, or slope. So slope is rise over run. So I'm going to do that and that. So I get 1, 2, 3, 4 down is -4. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is kind of annoying, but it's 5. That's the run. So rise over run. That's an E. No. Right, so the rise is -4. The run is 5. Right, let me double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. So -4 over 5, you have the slope and the something, the y-intercept. So now we can have the equation of the line is -4 over 5x, because that is your slope, your rate of change, and all of that. And then it crosses at 1. That's the equation of that line. And finally, we are finished with this long video. Hopefully it helped. Just give me email me if you do need extra help, and with anything. If you don't understand anything on the video, just throw me an email, and and I'll answer you back as soon as possible. Just tell me which number you're talking about, because I'm not going to know. And that's it. Bye-bye. Maybe not. Bye-bye.